Good morning, everyone. Will you please take your seats? We will begin shortly. Please take your seats. Good morning, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Bridge of Hope's Spring Gala Luncheon. My name is Ann Shannon, and I am so delighted to be here with you once again. It is such a blessing to be able to gather together with each of you, especially around this year's theme, Hope Can't Wait, Stories of Strength and Resilience. Today, you will hear powerful stories that remind us that hope is not something that we put off for tomorrow. It's something we live out right now through love, compassion, and community. You'll hear stories of strength and resilience and of the strong, caring relationships that help families find security and joy in the midst of incredibly difficult seasons. At the heart of each of these stories is the transformation that happens when Christian faith communities step forward, not just with words, but with hope in action, walking alongside families every step of the way. This is a message that I can personally relate to. As many of you may know, I spent the last 25 years at WGAL, a job I dreamed of since I was in the second grade. God opened every single door for me. It's an opportunity I am forever grateful for. But a year ago, I heard God calling me out of that position. I heard God closing those doors. I heard him telling me that instead of being News 8's WGAL News 8's Ann Shannon, I was to be a child of the one true King. I am a child of the one true King. At that time, I did not know what the future would hold, but I walked out in obedience and with hope, knowing that God would walk with me every step of the way. And I know the stories we hear today will speak to that as well. So I am delighted to join you today, not as News 8's Ann Shannon, but a child of the one true King. Amen. So, some housekeeping measures to take care of. The main auction and centerpiece bidding will close at noon. So we will remind you of that, but please, if you want to make sure you want to take home that centerpiece, make sure you are the highest bid at noon. The special purchase area, Buy It Now, the wine pool, and the gift card wall are available until they are sold out. A very special thank you today to our amazing gala sponsors. Please take a moment to look at the list in your program booklet. I know that many of you are beginning to eat, but if you will pause with me and bow our heads together and we can offer a prayer of thanksgiving. Creator God, you provide the true bread from heaven, and we are nourished daily through your gift of the Holy Spirit. We are grateful for this meal and the hands that prepared it. Thank you for your presence here around each table as we share this food together. May you continue to lead and guide the work of Bridge of Hope. Grant peace and calm to our speakers today as they share from deep places. Encourage each heart in this room to extend hope so that no family is homeless. All glory and honor are yours, O God. Amen. Enjoy your meal. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the board of Bridge of Hope National, welcome. We are delighted to have our sponsors and guests with us, those here in person and those joining virtually, and especially our community that is gathered at our New Jersey satellite event. So welcome, everyone. My name is Ann Shannon. Let's give a big round of applause to just being here today. You all look fabulous. A special thank you at this time to our top sponsors for helping to make today's gala possible. Our presenting sponsors, Friend of Bridge of Hope, Evelyn Hess, James Spring and Dwyer Company, The Old Candle Barn, Glenn H. Weaver in memory of Ann Weaver, Utility Keystone Supply, Men of Iron, Penstro Leasing, Willow Valley Associates, our Keystone sponsor, Bear Wealth Advisors, and you can see a full list of sponsors in your program booklet or at bridgeofhopeinc.org under the Events tab. Let's give a round of applause to our sponsors today. And if you will also join me in giving a heartfelt thank you to our Gala Planning Committee for our Lancaster event and to our New Jersey Satellite Event Planning Committee. Your dedication and creativity have made this an incredible experience for all of us. Our thanks to everyone. I'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge the Bridge of Hope National Board and staff, as well as the Lancaster and Chester County Community Boards who are with us today, and you will find their names listed in your program booklet as well. Thank you. So this year, you are going to experience something completely different. Over the years, many of you have expressed a desire to hear more Bridge of Hope stories, more about the strength and resilience of moms moving from homelessness to wholeness, how God is moving churches to walk alongside, offering Christ's neighboring love. So today, each of our guest speakers will share a powerful, firsthand story from their unique Bridge of Hope experience. We begin with a look at Bridge of Hope's newest video featuring Kate Wirtz.
My name's Kate. I'm 35. My son Tegan is 12 and my daughter Ayla is 13. Currently I have 5 years clean from drugs and alcohol, so my kids have only been home since, it'll be 3 years in May this year. So I was out in Pittsburgh for 3 years, getting clean and getting my life together. I came back, got the kids, got the house over across Ephrata, and their dad had moved in with us. At that point, we were trying to get it back together. He had relapsed and he left January of 2025. So I was in severe debt, just trying to get us together and just trying to manage life with 2 kids, newly home and everything. So I got referred to Bridge of Hope through the social worker at Ephrata School District.
My name is Donna Weaver, and I go to the Ephrata United Zion Church, and we were approached, the care team was approached by our pastor to see if we wanted to get involved with Bridge of Hope, to walk along beside a family. The reason I said yes to being a neighbor was because I wanted to bring encouragement to a family who might need it. I wanted to be a positive influence in their life by showing God's love. The greatest joy for me for walking along beside Caitlin and her family was the ways we could bless them, whether it was through gifts, at different times throughout the year, getting together, taking them out for lunch, that kind of thing, or bringing them meals, when they needed them and things like that. So just finding ways to bless them, that was a real joy to me.
Yeah, they've been super accepting of us and just checking in, and just that genuine connection. And they've asked a few times, if I have to work late or anything else, if the kids want to go do something. So they've been really involved with the kids and making sure that they're okay. Knowing that you don't have to stay stuck in a situation. I think that's a big one, especially for single moms, that we feel like we have to either stay with someone or stay somewhere, just for some kind of stability. But I've learned a different level of strength in myself of doing it on my own, right? Bridge of Hope has really helped me learn that about me, and just, to take the help when it's there, as it's there, and just be grateful that it's even an opportunity.
Everybody needs a friend. Everybody needs help. Everybody needs hope at times. Everybody needs a neighbor. And if we can walk along beside someone to help them through difficult times, challenging times, whatever, what a gift that is, to do for that person.
Bridge of Hope is a great organization and program for single moms who want to gain independence and to not have to rely on people long term, right? So being able to give to a program like this that give people little hope for a better day, right, for them and their kids. If we want a better future for our kids, like, we have to help them as they are kids, which means like helping their parents out. So to me, like, that's how it like makes sense. Hope can't wait because life doesn't wait. And there's a resilience in learning that hope can't just be a pipe dream. I have found such a determination to have a good life for me and my kids, that really nothing has gotten in my way as much as it's tried, to the point of like even door dashing for 4 months to survive. And that became like an adventure for me and the kids. That like my kids actually got upset a couple times that I like went door dashing without them while they were at school, because it's been like our thing. So just finding like the best parts of everything, no matter like how hard it is, has really like been this last year of like, we'll make it through no matter what. And teaching my kids that resilience in like literally no matter what.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, will you please warmly welcome Kate to the stage.
Crying already, so I'll do my best. Hello, my name is Kate, and I would like to share my success story within the Bridge of Hope program. I want to start off by saying thank you to Bridge of Hope, the churches that partner with them, and every single person in this room who believes that hope does matter. The message of this year is that hope can't wait. And I can tell you from living the experience that it isn't just a slogan, it's the difference between surviving and falling apart. There was a time in my life that everything changed overnight. As you heard in the video, my children's father had relapsed and walked out on us. Just like that, I was left alone with 2 kids, overwhelming debt, and no support system. I had to quit my job to care for my children, which meant that the little stability that we did have was gone. Bills were piling up faster than I could even figure out how to pay them. Every day felt heavier than the last. I remember sitting there thinking, how am I going to do this? Not next year, not next month, but how was I just going to get through that day? Because when you're in that kind of situation, hope can't wait. I did what so many people do when they feel like they're drowning. And I went to Google, and I went to the school board. I searched for anything, any kind of support for single moms. That's when I came across Bridge of Hope. And honestly, I didn't even know what to expect. Within days, everything started to change for us. I met Lisa, my case manager, and from the very first meeting, I felt something that I hadn't in a long time. I felt seen, and I felt like someone actually believed in me and believed me. Just within a few days later, I was approved for the support. And then something incredible happened. Bridge of Hope connected me with a local church community. We had a meet and greet, and instead of feeling judged or alone, we were welcomed with open arms. They didn't just offer words, they showed up. They helped us move, they helped us unpack, they helped us settle into a new home. And I remember thinking, how is this even real? Because of the stress and the fear that I had been carrying, it didn't just disappear overnight, but it shifted. For the first time in a really long time, I felt relief, and I felt possibility. That's what it means when we say, hope can't wait. Because when people step in at the right moment, it changes everything. Over the next year and a half, something even more important happened. I didn't just receive help, but I built a life. With the support of Bridge of Hope and the church, I began to develop independence and resilience. They didn't do everything for me, but they did walk beside me while I figured it out on my own. Every process through losing and gaining employment, the stress of being a single mother, The moments where I felt like everything was against me, they supported me to help me reset and regain my footing. They helped me make sure that we had heat during the winter. They made sure my kids had a Christmas that they could remember this year. They showed up with dinners when life just felt really overwhelming, and sometimes it was just a text or a phone call reminding me that you are not alone. And that mattered more to me than I can even ever put in words, because I've lived a life where I wasn't just used to people always believing in me. I'm also recovering from a substance use disorder, and for a long time, people gave up on me quickly. They didn't think I would succeed, and they didn't think I could build a stable life. But Bridge of Hope saw something different in me. They saw potential, they saw strength, and they saw a future. And today, because of that, this year I will celebrate consecutive 6 years of sobriety. I'm a successful single mother raising 2 teenagers on my own. We were able to stay together as a family, including our 3 cats, which might sound small to you, but they mean everything to us. I'm just a year and a half away from earning my bachelor's degree in psychology with a 3.8 GPA. And I have current stable employment with a company that values my work, my growth, and my worth. I'm able to have a savings account today. I have a credit score I can be proud of. It's stability that we seek in life, and Bridge of Hope is a piece of being able to be possible in my life. All of that to say, it came from a moment where someone decided that hope couldn't wait for us. Because when I felt like I couldn't make it through another day, Bridge of Hope held me up long enough for me to learn that I can stand on my own. And now today I don't just survive, I believe I can do anything. So when we talk about supporting organizations like Bridge of Hope, we're not just talking about housing or finances, we're talking about giving people time, we're talking about restoring dignity, we're talking about changing entire futures for parents, for children, and for families. Hope can't wait because people can't wait. Not when they're choosing between heat and food, not when they're wondering where their children are going to sleep, not when they feel like they're completely alone. Hope must show up in that moment, and when it does, it creates stories like mine. So today I just want to thank you. Thank you for being the kind of people who show up. Thank you for believing in families like mine. And thank you for proving that every single day that hope doesn't have to wait. And because of you, it doesn't. Thank you.
I know I'm not the only one. Kate, at the end of what you shared, you thanked this group. I think we all need to thank you. I think you are the hero of this. Your courage, the generosity of your heart to share. Your kids have a great mom. We thank you. So Kate's is just one story. It's actually just one part of the story. It's a glimpse into what becomes possible when hope shows up right on time through people who choose to step closer, not to step back or step away. When neighbors become a steady presence, when churches open their hearts, and when a community surrounds a family with consistent love and support, resilience grows and stability begins to take root. As you saw in the story, it takes a community of volunteers, a community of support, volunteers, pastors, landlords, each person playing a unique role in a larger story of hope. Not someday, not when it's convenient, not when we all have time for it, when it fits in, but when it's needed most. Our next two speakers, Fran Smucker and Ray Hurst, made that choice. When their churches were invited to come alongside a family or families through Bridge of Hope, they didn't hesitate. They responded. They became part of the circle of support, building relationships that bring strength, dignity, and lasting change. Let's hear why they didn't wait and what happened when they chose to put hope into action.
Across communities, families are working hard and still losing their place to live. Not because they've failed, but because housing is out of reach. This isn't solved alone. It takes partnership. Neighbors, landlords, and donors. And when it happens, families find more than housing. They find stability and community. Together.
When you give to Bridge of Hope, you're investing into people, lives, and relationships in order to enable them to continue. So I was a single parent for a little bit, and my church body kind of took on some little things for me, like watching my child so I can go back to school. Just knowing I wasn't alone in the world was helpful. So for me, that gave me hope.
We first got connected with Bridge of Hope years ago, and I would think probably around the early 2000s. A young lady who was a mother in our church, and she needed some help. And somewhere, someone in our church had found out about Bridge of Hope, and they created I don't even think they were called neighboring groups then, but they created a group and sort of came around her. The neighboring group is volitional. Like, people have come and they said, I know that I'm going to be stretched, and I'm willing to do that. I know that we're going to face some challenges. I'm willing to face them, but I really believe, each person would say, I really believe that I'm supposed to help and I want to help.
My favorite part of Bridge of Hope is the neighboring part. It's the coming alongside, it's watching a child, it's using some extra space in your house to store their stuff so that they don't have to pay for a storage unit.
Well, that's the great part of it being a neighboring community. It doesn't all fall on one person. Different people bring different strengths and gifts to the neighbor. So she sends out a text to all of us, hey, I need, and then I'm sorry I'm here. We all chime in together. And I say, hey, I can take her to preschool. Right. I can do it. So it's just really, it's not pressure, like it's just me. And, she's depending on me. Yeah. And I don't know that I can commit to that. Right. It is a group of us.
When you are a single mom and you've come from a challenging life circumstance and you don't have any family or really any good friends to rely on, it is so hard. And you're trying to work and you're trying to pay your rent and your child gets sick, like Carlene said, well, then you miss work. And then maybe work gets upset with you because you miss a couple days. And you don't have that support, and all of a sudden it just starts to snowball, and the next thing you know, you've lost your job, and then you can't pay your rent, and you don't have an apartment anymore, and all of a sudden you're homeless.
Yeah, we feel that life is fragile and housing security is fragile as well. It's so easy to slip into a situation of housing insecurity and so difficult to get out of that. And having this ability to climb out of a housing insecurity situation is incredibly important. And support is needed, partnerships are needed with landlords, and it's just a terrific outcome, and it has been for us.
When you first start, you have the training with Bridge Hope. They teach you about some things, and there's some video clips in there and things. I was like, I had no idea.
There's online training that was just really well developed, and then the interactive training that we did as a group was also really thorough, and I felt like we were really well equipped.
That was the part that's helpful to me, and now I can take our care team and say, hey, here's an opportunity, and they can essentially be given all the tools they need to do that. That's where Bridge of Hope is done, especially for me as the pastor, as someone who's looking for more help administratively to do some of those things.
Bridge of Hope gives people that opportunity to help other people. If we build that relationship, we have that friendship, and we've established something, then I get the joy of seeing just the Holy Spirit of God just work.
The mom that we neighbored was so receptive. So there was never that issue. She was never pushing us away. And I was kind of amazed at that because I thought, wow, this could feel very intrusive. You've got multiple people wanting to do things for you, and at times we could be overwhelming, and we realized that the text might have been a lot for her, but she was always receptive.
Hope really can't wait because there's people already in the thick of their challenges. There's already people waiting for a community to come around them. They already exist. The need already exists.
Hope can't wait for these families because they need support when they're going into delivery of children and need an immediate spot for their children to be able to move into and create a loving home environment.
When I think of Bridge of Hope, I think that hope can't wait because each day counts, and each day represents whether you're in a house and feeling secure and feeling loved.
Hope can't wait because now is the time to show love, and to be that someone somewhere is hurting, just waiting for somebody to show the love of Christ. So why should we allow someone to suffer more when we have the hope now? Hope needs to be shared. That's hope not shared is not hope. I don't know what it is, but it's not shared. You've got to share it.
My name is Fan Smucker, and I was born right here in Lancaster County, born into an Amish family with a name like Fanny. My husband's family has Amish roots as well. And although our families, both of our families left the Amish church when we were young, that heritage has shaped us deeply. One thing that the Amish understand well is community. They know how to show up almost instinctively for each other. When there's an illness or any kind of crisis, the word spreads really quickly and people just respond. The meals arrive, help shows up, the needs are met. When a new baby comes, the moms, the sisters, the grandmas gather around to care for both mom and child. For me personally, I remember that deep sense of comfort when, after the birth of each of my 4 children, my mom would stay overnight with us just for a couple nights, just a sense of someone being there. So growing up around that left a mark on me. And when I step outside of that kind of a culture, I start to realize how very rare it is. And then I imagine the opposite. And we don't have to imagine it because we're hearing the stories today. A young single mom raising children alone, no nearby family, no built-in support. She's working, she's paying for childcare, just barely keeping up. And then her child gets sick. She misses work, job is at stake, rent becomes impossible. And just like that, suddenly she's facing homelessness. Without community, just one crisis can unravel everything. And it is a lonely and a terrifying place to be. What she needs, and Kate spoke to this, what she needs is not just money, although that helps. She needs people. She needs a safety net. She needs relationship. And that's where Bridge of Hope comes in. And I know most of the people in this room understand how Bridge of Hope works, but just in case, Bridge of Hope partners with the local churches to walk alongside these families that are facing homelessness. And most often, it's single moms with children. My daughters are moms now, and I just have such a deep sense of remembering and understanding what that all entails to be alone as a mom. So a small group of people from a church becomes what's called the neighboring volunteers, and they commit to work or to walking with her for a year or more. And then there's the professional caseworker who helps with the housing and the goal setting. But the neighboring group provides something that I think is just as important. It's the friendship, it's the encouragement, practical help, and consistency. My husband and I said yes to being a part of a neighboring group several years ago. We just saw it as a way of giving back in this season of our lives, and maybe a small way of giving back from the heritage that we have, that has been passed on to us. Each one within the group brings something different, so it doesn't all fall on one person. Someone can sometimes babysit, someone can bring meals, other people can help with things around the house. I got to stay the night with our young mom friend after the birth of her baby, just like my mom did for me. No one person has been having to carry the whole load. We just show up with what we have. And over time, something so beautiful happened. She stopped being the mom in the program, and she became our friend and our neighbor. Literally, in this case, our neighbor just a few miles down the road, and we just absolutely love her. Our official commitment has ended with Bridge of Hope, but that relationship has not. We celebrate birthdays together. We look forward to the texts where she sends us pictures of her kids and updates. And I can't promise that every single neighboring experience will look just like ours. I feel really blessed that our group really connected well. I know that's not always the case, but you know what? That's not why we're doing this for people. We're doing it because God's heart is so clearly for families who are vulnerable and alone. If we say we value life, if we say we value family, then this is a tangible way to live that out. Not just in words, but in a relationship. And you know what? It's not complicated. I don't have to be an expert. I don't have to be extraordinary. I don't even have to solve homelessness. I just need a willing heart and then a few people to walk alongside me. In the words of Edward Everett Hale, I am only one, but still I am one. I cannot do everything, but still I can do something. And because I cannot do everything, I will not refuse to do the something that I can do. Thank you.
Several years ago, when our church, New Holland Mennonite, when we were exploring with Bridge of Hope what it might look like to become a neighboring partner with a young woman in our community and her 4 children, I wasn't sure this thing would fly. I knew the family, the wonderful family, but I also knew the reality. Resources were low and needs were high. Needs for housing, social services, medical care, transportation, and more. And we were a small congregation, 40, maybe 50 on a Sunday morning. How could we take this on? And I remember saying to my wife, Brenda, why does Pastor Don keep stretching us so thin? Felt a little bit like Tevier in Fiddler on the Roof. How far can we bend before we break? But hope can't wait. It can't wait until all the resources are in place. It can't wait until everything fits together nicely. Until all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. Hope calls us to act when all we see is fragments. And even those fragments aren't very clear. So, 6 of us from the church met with the Bridge of Hope staff, and they reassured us that we wouldn't be traveling this journey by ourselves, that they'd be there to support us, to give us the shoulders to lean on when we needed to. Bridge of Hope would provide the financial counseling and help address some of the social needs that were present, and we as a church would come alongside the family, celebrating birthdays, sharing holidays, and hosting backyard picnics and barbecues. And since I was the motorhead of the group, I took on helping with any transportation needs that were necessary. Well, at the time, the family had a small car that was really on its last leg. And I had already replaced the fuel pump. Transmission was shot, so there was no more reason to put any more money into this particular car. But there were no more resources for a vehicle. How are we going to do this? And so I started asking around, and some of my mechanic friends pointed me to Steffi's Garage in Leola, where a van had been donated by someone who simply said, well, just give it to someone who needs it. Needed some work, but the total cost of the bill for the van was about $1,500. Well, that could have been $15,000 to us. And so I began tapping some of my friends again, wondering how in the world we could get a loan for this car, or where would we get resources to buy it. And that's when a friend of mine stepped forward and offered to buy the car outright. He asked to remain unnamed, but I'm deeply grateful for his quiet conviction that hope can't wait. Now, even though it was a good van, had about 125,000 miles on it, we knew that it was going to take some regular care to keep it on the road. And so I asked the 2 boys in the family if they would help me to keep it running. And they were 8 and 10 years old at the time. You're laughing. I was too. But they were eager to learn. And we started with the basics. Oil changes, tire pressures, rotating tires, checking fluids, replacing filters, keeping good records of the work that they had done. And then that Christmas, I gave them a small toolbox so that they could begin doing some of their own work on this car. And I kept checking in with them along the way. Well, a couple weekends ago, they were back at my place working on the van, and for a little extra practice, helping me to get some of my mowers and tillers and tractors ready for spring by changing filters and checking tire pressures and so forth. It was giving them a chance to expand their confidence in what they could do. Because this is about more than maintaining a vehicle, it's about equipping them with skills and a sense that they are capable of doing this kind of work. And of course, these times together have become about more than just mechanics, more than just fixing things. They've given me the chance to get to know them, their interests, their challenges, and what makes them tick as a teenager. It's opened my eyes to the realities of being a teenager today. and we've learned from each other along this way together. This partnership with this family and with Bridge of Hope has been a rich and wonderful experience for our congregation. Now, that's not to say there haven't been moments of deep frustration or times of discouragement. There have been. But we've been amazed at how working together, playing together, and simply being together has bonded us in meaningful ways. We are the richer because of this journey of neighboring together. And I am grateful to Bridge of Hope for the vision that hope can't wait and for bringing us into this partnership together. Thanks, Bridge of Hope.
What a gift to receive these stories of hope and resilience and connection. At Bridge of Hope, every person matters, and creating connection matters. We often believe resiliency is an individual responsibility, something someone must muster up their own strength to do. Today, I hope that we can all see in a fresh and beautiful way that cultivating resilience is a collective effort. We don't become resilient on our own. God did not create us for individual resilience. God created us for community, with and for each other. Every Bridge of Hope family has a neighborhood of support, a community of neighboring volunteers from a Christian faith community, and a Bridge of Hope staff person who walk together toward wholeness. Here at Bridge of Hope, whole-making is part of the call that God has placed on us. We are loving families toward wholeness, and this compassionate acceptance creates a sense of home. Building resilience isn't about moving on from trauma. It's about walking ahead in spite of it and knowing that others are there for you. This is a journey of deep tenderness, woundedness, and cherishing. For those of you who were here last year, how many of you were here last year? You helped us make our Making Room campaign possible. You helped bring hope in such significant ways this past 3 years. Across our 20 locations, our time to house families has decreased from 63 days on average to 39 days. We've had 91% increase in landlord partners, those who are working with us to help make that decrease in days to house happen. 4 Bridge of Hope locations now own a combined 13 units of property, in addition to landlord partnerships that help us move forward with housing families. 8 of those units are in this 2-county founding region. And here in Lancaster, an innovative housing partnership with Chestnut Housing, CV Seeds, and Forest Hills Mennonite Church will be building 15 new units of housing for families. And we are grateful for the partnership with the Worship Center's Matthew 25 work in helping to support our contribution toward that collaboration. This past year, Bridge of Hope Berks launched as a new affiliate, and we look forward to them serving their first family and neighboring church in the next year. Our network has served a 20% increase in families over the past 2 years, including a 40% increase in families here in Lancaster and Chester counties during the Making Room campaign. So you have helped make an awful lot happen over the past several years. Thank you. And here's the hard part that I also have to share. Despite this work of increasing the number of families we are serving, family homelessness nationwide has increased by 39%. That number gives us a renewed sense of urgency. Hope can't wait for a family living in a shelter or in a car, or a mom and children hiding after domestic violence. Let's not say, I hope you find a place to live. Let's make hope an action word. Faith with feet. Let's not hide our hope under a bushel. Let's let hope shine. We all matter to Jesus, no matter our housing status. God cherishes us. I love the story of Hagar in Scripture, who names God as the God who sees. God saw Hagar. God sees you. God sees each mom, child, parent facing homelessness. God sees. And God invites us to make hope an action word. Across this beautiful, broad diversity of the kingdom of God, churches from almost every Christian faith tradition are neighboring, walking out their faith in real and tangible ways with families who are facing incredible challenges and hardship. Pain and hardship indeed reshape who we are. So I offer 3 simple invitations to build resilience that I have learned as I have watched moms in Bridge of Hope and our Bridge of Hope alumni. Don't isolate, reach for community, and be community for others. As Father Gregory Boyle says, God sets us on our feet so we can walk each other home. Moms often say Bridge of Hope isn't really a program, it's a family. And honestly, that's probably one of the best compliments we could receive. My prayer for Hope Can't Wait would mean that we would have more churches stepping forward to neighbor than we have families asking for help. That would be beautiful. If it's in our ability to offer hope, let's do it. Let's not hide our hope under a bushel. Let's let hope shine. Now is the time. Here's the place. And these are the people that we can walk with as we offer hope to families facing homelessness. Now, I believe God takes great joy in seeing hope offered to moms and children, and I want to say a special thank you to our amazing sponsors who have collectively given over $200,000 already for today's event. They are indeed letting their light shine. And now it's your turn. Today we have a challenge match in which several donors have joined together to offer up to $100,000 in matching funds for everything given today or received through May 18th. So everything you purchase today or donate today will be doubled. So both here in this location and at our New Jersey Gala satellite. So if you give $500, it becomes $1,000. It's going to stretch us collectively to reach this $100,000, but my hope is that we don't let any of that on the table today. So there's 4 ways you can give. You can visit bridgeofhopeinc.org and make a gift now. or you can use the QR code that's in your program booklet on page 2. You can use a credit card at checkout. You can add a donation at checkout. You can make a gift by cash, credit card, check today and put it in the envelope that is in your program bulletin and place it in one of the house boxes near the exit as you leave Palm Court. Or you can mail your gift so we get it by May 18th. Would you prayerfully consider making a gift of hope today? Let's not hide hope under a bushel, because hope can't wait. And now it is really an honor to be able to introduce Tiffany Nieves Olmedo. She is joining us today as an alumna of Bridge of Hope. Tiffany, thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for carving out time to come and support Bridge of Hope. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. Thank you for carving out time to come and support Bridge of Hope and all of the amazing families that are part of this nonprofit, because hope can't wait. My name is Tiffany Nieves. I'm originally from the small island of Puerto Rico. Growing up in the town of Fajardo, it was a beautiful experience filled with lots of love from my grandparents who raised me. But it was also full of a lot of challenges due to the lack of opportunities and the poverty that had stricken my once lively town and most of the island. When I was 17, I left with my boyfriend in search of building a better future for us and the future and the family that we planned to have. At 19, we welcomed our son, and 2 years later, we had our daughter. Things weren't perfect, but we were very happy, and we had everything that we needed. Then he began abusing drugs to cope with his own trauma. And then shortly after, the physical abuse started. There were days that I would take my kids to the park and stay there for hours, because I knew that once we went back home, our personal hell was waiting. I woke up one day knowing that this was the day that I had to take my children and leave the only people and place that I had known. I'm sorry. I'm not sure why, but that day I had this sense of urgency. Like I knew that we would not survive if I didn't take my kids and leave. I found myself homeless with 2 babies, no job experience other than being a stay-at-home mom. My highest level of education was 11th grade, and I didn't know how to drive. I had no family support group, and I was in a town now that I had never even been to, but they were the only ones with an opening and transportation to a shelter. For months we struggled, scared, crying out of desperation, listening to my kids cry because they didn't have enough food that day, sleeping on mats on the floor on different churches every week, and walking 3 miles at 5 a.m. to take my children to daycare, then walking countless other miles to the houses that I had began to clean to support my babies. Then I had to do it all over again at the end of the day. Then I found Bridge of Hope through a friend at the church that we had begun attending. Upon learning of my situation, they took immediate action to help me and my children get to a safe place because they knew that hope can't wait. They understood the urgency and made sure that I understood that I was no longer alone. I felt safe for the first time in a long time. We were blessed to begin Bridge of Hope with our own neighboring volunteer group from the church that we were attending. The staff at Bridge of Hope made sure that the volunteers were well prepared, had the tools they needed, and understood what it would take to help me and my children obtain stability. Less than 2 months after the initial meeting, Bridge of Hope helped me find and move into our first apartment. They were present in every single step and made sure not only did we have all the necessities, but also that it was a place that we felt safe in. With help from my neighboring group and the guidance and support of Bridge of Hope, I continued growing my housekeeping business. I started to take night classes to get my GED, and in my spare time, I was taking classes to learn how to drive. Bridge of Hope gave me the skills that I needed to learn how to budget properly, how to organize my life in manageable ways, and many other things that I still carry as my foundation today. Most of all, through their unwavering dedication, compassion, and commitment, they gave me the strength that I needed to trust in myself and continue working towards a better future. Today, my son is 14, and he plays the cello. My daughter is 12 and plays the French horn. They both had leading roles in plays this past March in their school. And most of all, they're both incredibly loving and kind. I couldn't be more proud to call myself their mom. 5 years ago, I was able to purchase our first home. My business has grown and continues to be our main source of income. I have a wonderful community and friends and loved ones who have become really our everything. All of this has come together thanks to the support of Bridge of Hope. I stand in this room in front of all of you guys to say thank you. Thank you for donating your time. Sorry. Thank you for donating your time, your energy, and for all the financial contributions that each and every one of you guys make. Thank you so much for helping Bridge of Hope continue to change lives every day. And thank you for understanding that hope can't wait. Thank you.
Tiffany, thank you for bravely sharing your inspiring story. I think everyone in this room is incredibly moved, so thank you. Wow. Today, I'm Katie Engel. I am the board chair of Bridge of Hope National. Today, we've heard firsthand why hope can't wait for families facing homelessness and how Christian faith communities are responding with hope in action through neighboring. Thank you, Kate, Tiffany, Fan, and Ray, for embodying strength and resilience through your stories. Let's show our appreciation again for our amazing speakers today. And thank you to the amazing businesses and individuals who have sponsored the gala. Thank you for making it possible right now for even more Bridge of Hope families, because hope can't wait. To our Gala Planning Committee, thank you for making this gala possible. To Ann Shannon, thank you for returning as MC again this year. Thank you to our Bridge of Hope National, Lancaster County, Chester County board members in attendance today for your service. To those of you joining via live stream from your homes, and to the more than 100 guests attending our New Jersey Gala satellite event, thank you for being part of this special day with us. As Edith shared earlier, our goal is to raise $100,000 today, or by Monday, May 18th, in order to capture the full $100,000 challenge match being offered. You have several options for giving that are outlined in your program and on the screens. You can give towards $100,000 challenge match in one of 4 ways. Visit bridgeofhopeinc.org and make a gift now, or use the QR code on page 2 of your program booklet. Use your credit card at checkout and add a donation to your purchases. Make a gift by cash or check today and put it in the envelope that is in your program booklet, and place it in one of the cute little house boxes as you leave Palm Court. Or you can mail your donation in by May 18th. Let's hold out hope for more families facing homelessness. Let's support families in finding housing, building a caring community of support, cultivating resilience, and achieving lasting stability. Before we close, please be sure to check for your auction winnings. If you are with us here at the main event and you won something from the online auction, Bidding Owl has notified you by email. Please pay using that link and then check with staff at the auction table about picking up your item. Further instructions are listed on the auction site for those who are watching virtually. A favorite, the main event centerpiece auction, results have been distributed. Your name will be listed if you've won. Please proceed to the invoice table at the back of the room for payment. Guest appreciation winners can also pick up their gift at the invoice tables. All right, so thank you once again for sharing this time with us today, because hope can't wait. Thank you for helping bring hope, housing, and neighboring volunteers to more families starting today.